Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. One of the things that India prides itself on is its free press, and we say that that's a crucial part of Indian democracy. Now, interestingly, according to at least one study, Reporters Without Borders, they're not quite that sure. India actually ranks at 140 out of 180 countries when it comes to press freedom, and that's not a particularly good statistic. And now, in the run-up to this general elections, we are seeing the media coming under increased attack from all quarters, from threats being made that the media will be crushed, to people saying that the media is going to be arrested, to lots and lots of charges of paid news. What is actually likely to happen? Is the media under threat in India, and is the freedom of press under some sort of threat? And on the other hand, are there times when the media is going overboard actually, and are there real times where there is paid news taking place, and what can be done about it? So all of those issues are going to be discussed over the next 1 hour right here on The Big Fight. And let me welcome all of our guests out here. I'm going to start with Saurabh Bhardwaj, who's a minister in Delhi for a certain period of time, belonging to the Aam Aadmi Party. Thank you so much for being with us. Nalini Singh, one of our senior most journalists, great to have you with us. Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP. We have N.K. Singh, who is the General Secretary of the Broadcasters Editors Association. Been rather exercised about all the attacks coming from various fronts. Madhu Trayan, another one of our senior most journalists. So it's great to have you with us, Madhu. And we have Priyanka Chaturvedi joining us from Mumbai, who's a spokesperson of the Congress Party. But let me just start off with the threats first. And actually the threats are coming thick and fast. Not least by Arvind Kejriwal, who says, let our government come and all of these media people will be thrown into jail. Might make for a really peaceful evening in many people's cases. You will have no more shouting on any television news screen at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. But is that really what the Aam Aadmi Party wants to do?
I think Arvind has been misquoted. He said that there should be investigation and they should be put in jail, obviously, if found guilty. And it is not the first time that, we are picking it up.
Rather all media investigated and put into jail. It sounds rather...
That whenever you call the word, say the word investigation, that means that otherwise he would have said that, we'll send every media house in a jail. And it is not just us,
tough to do unless...
There was a subcommittee
Even if
report.
you're China, that's tough to do.
I think...
let alone being India and the Aam Aadmi Party.
I think it was like Pranjoy Guha's report, a subcommittee's report, which had, explicitly named media houses which were involved in paid media. And I don't think, our media collectively took it as a, they publicly reported it. It was just watered down and everybody knows it. And it is our collective responsibility that if there are rotten eggs, we should identify them.
Yes. To that extent, yes. If they are rotten eggs, yes, but that's not what it sounded like. It sounded like, sabko band karo, jail mein dalo sabko. But frankly, it's not only the Aam Aadmi Party, which of course got a lot of flack. What about the Congress Party and a Home Minister who says the media needs to be crushed? You could say it's the social media that needs to be crushed. I'm not sure that's much bigger or better.
When the Home Minister said that, I think he also mentioned that some aspects of social media have been indulging in spreading a lot of negative news, rather peddling a lot of lies. His quote was based on that, but I personally believe that it got misquoted and it was reported as media. When AAP talks about, Saurabh Bhardwaj was talking about bringing credibility back into journalism, they also need to question themselves as to how come while they were getting positive... No, they need to, because when they were getting positive coverage, they thought that they used to thank media on every second day. But when it came to questioning them, considering they were governing Delhi for 49 days, when they got questioned, they started coming up with statements like these. Considering we've been in the government for 10 years, and we have faced a lot of flack coming from the media, there have been positive reports, but there have been a lot of negative reports as well. So
largely negative in recent days, you're right.
Yes, but considering, even in the 10 years, we've seen there are a lot of justified reports as well as unjustified reports. So it needs to question itself also. It's time that media also did a bit of thinking as to how they want to move further in the coming times. Okay, fair enough. Before I come to the rest of it, she has a point out there. The Aam Aadmi Party, probably the last party which should be complaining about the media, considering the number of seats you are in all probability going to get. The amount of headlines that you get are out of sync with it.
We have
So you
so
should
many
be-
friends as journalists, we have people who have been joining
my
our party.
goodness.
I mean, they're not journalists joining the party.
We don't say,
That's the worst thing
Yes.
I ever heard.
No, this is not the worst thing.
But no, this is the worst thing. That because you have friends as journalists,
Yes.
that you have embedded journalists in the Aam Aadmi
No,
Party in
I
a way.
think you are manipulating
let me just
what I'm
finish. Let
saying.
me just finish. So actually, it comes to exactly what we had feared. That today, to win elections, a top politician only needs about half a dozen mass support of half a dozen journalists, maybe 6 or 7 or 8, and then these are the ones who are going to spread your
this
message.
is the
and
kind
you
of
will
media we oppose.
No, no,
She's
this
trying
is-
to
She
manipulate
She is the kind of
right
media
now.
you oppose.
Yes,
Not any single
because
particular.
she is manipulating me right now. I
not
haven't-
manipulating you. You are saying
Yes,
it. Why will I manipulate?
She's
That's all.
No,
she's
I haven't said
expressing
what
herself.
she's saying.
You are saying
There is
that.
I have
no
said
manipulation.
Your
Was
friends
she
as
manipulating him,
journalists.
Madhu?
Is there
I'd
any
like to
manipulation?
address all three parties. First, the Congress Party. The Congress Party has the worst record since independence on trying to control the press. From the time when Nehru put in the amendment to Article 19.
The very first.
The very first thing.
amendment.
After
The
that,
very
you
first
have the
amendment.
emergency.
That
Then you
brought
have
this-
a series of books being banned.
Emergency.
And let's talk about recently Rajiv Gandhi trying to put the defamation bill in, which because the press came together was shot down. Again recently, Meenakshi Natarajan trying to sneak in a bill for defamation, which again was shot down. Whenever the press becomes aware of these things which will put our democracy in danger, we have stood up to you and you have backed down. But you've been able to sneak in the section in the IT Act, section 66. 66A, you've snuck that in for things like in annoyance. You've blocked websites, you've closed Twitter handles, you have the worst record ever. Aam Aadmi Party.
No,
You
Madhuji,
were very
I'd like to
quiet
beg.
when
We're
you
going to
had
get each of you to
wonderful-
respond to
about
Madhu. I'm
those
allowing
blocking-
Madhu
I'd
for
like
2
to-
minutes
I'd
of
like to-
Okay.
bashing
Then-
all of you, then I'm going to get all of
Yes,
you to respond.
the Aam Aadmi Party.
Actually, we can get them
You
to
were
respond one by
You
one.
were very quiet when you were getting great press because you were doing good things. You were a phenomena. It was interesting for the media. When you started making mistakes, we're going to show those mistakes. Then suddenly, within that very short period, the media becomes corrupt that quickly for you. How come it wasn't corrupt when you were getting good press? That's it. BJP, your record is even worse.
But I have not spoken as yet.
So okay.
No, I'm talking
let
about
Madhu,
the BJP
let Madhu have a
party's
go at
record.
you, then
So
I'll
first
have a
the
go at you,
bashing
then
and
we'll
then
both
the
come.
speech.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
first the
about the
bashing, then you can
BJP's
defend.
record dealing with the media. I'm talking about that. You have a far clever way than the Congress. They are ham-handed. They show what they're doing. They show their cards. We slam them down. We push against it. We fight against it. We win most of the time, but we have lost, such as in this IT Act, which they've snuck it in. You have arrested journalists, you have blacked out channels, and your way of manipulating the press is by withholding access and giving access to a few selected channels and journalists. That is, you're clever, you're smart, but it's not good for democracy.
Okay. I believe without the media, the democracy would have been a dry game, thanks to you. But now with the caveats attached, I believe as far as the Congress Party and the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, had it not been for the emergency, I would say that the democracy and the media would not have seen the black days and would not have prepared itself for the worst days in the future.
think emergency
as
is
far as
30 years ago.
emergency, I believe we have not brought in the period of
40 years
emergency
ago.
as yet, but emergency was the blackest period not only for media but for democracy as such.
Right.
So I believe this reference is of paramount importance. Secondly, as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, you should remember that Aam Aadmi Party is after all the spoiled kid of the media. So the spoiled kid after all has to hit back the parents also. So believe today you have to
So
take
you're
the
saying
decisions
Aam Aadmi
also.
Party is a media creation and now they are getting
It's
upset
a
because the
spoiled
parent
kid, in
is...
fact, and you know there's a process of indigestion due to overexposure, and that's what is happening in Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay.
Overexposure and indigestion resulting in the kind of blabber that we are seeing. As far as BJP is concerned, now let me answer Madhuji. For the longest span of time, in this present few decades, if any politician has taken the bashings of media in the worst possible manner, is Mr. Narendra Modi. But
Yes.
still he has emerged as a triumph leader, as a victorious leader, as a person who becomes the aspirant of millions of people. I believe this is where BJP can say that, well, yes, in spite of the fact that media may try to paint someone as a black sheep, but the someone, if has talent, may emerge as the aspiration.
Hang on. That's got to do with Narendra Modi himself and his qualities and whether he can emerge as the Prime Minister or not emerge as the Prime Minister. That's got nothing to do with the BJP's
No,
attitude.
Narendra Modi has everything to do with BJP, and BJP
No,
has
obviously
everything to
it
do
is.
with
But
Narendra
hang
Modi.
on. It's got nothing to do with the BJP's attitude to the media. So that's what Madhu was referring to. Selective access, boycotts. Now let's not go down
We
that
hardly
route.
were in power for 5-6 years.
Hang on. But going forward, no, I'm not saying this necessarily happened in the Vajpayee era. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's regime was relatively a very media-friendly regime, and that's nobody's going to doubt that. But I'm saying right now there's a new phenomenon that I want to throw in addition to what Madhu said, which is the concerted attack that happens on social media. Anybody try saying a word about Mr. Modi, which is not to say, Jai Namo, and see the sort of attacks that happen. And not a day or not a week will go by without 30 people saying 54 days to go, every journalist is going to be in jail. Now, I'm not saying that Mr. Modi is himself saying that or the BJP is saying that, but also you're not doing enough to rein in the people who are saying that. So that leads to concern as to what your attitude to the media is going to be.
I want to answer. Now that you're talking about social media, which my friend's home minister tried to crush in, that social media has nothing to do with the party as such. Millions of people follow their aspirational leader, and I believe the words that flow
But if the leader follows those people back who are being abusive, then isn't he in some way responsible for them? Because that's what happens.
As far as I know, the leader does not follow people who are extremely abusive, and secondly and most importantly, social media is a different arena altogether. It should have it should have the freedom the way it has, and that is what I believe is the asset of democracy and social media.
But
for the sake to Priyanka again,
so for the sake of the 4 journalists who are here right now, you're categorically repudiating the claims that are made every day on social media that all of you journalists, because in their case, Arvind Kejriwal said himself, "Sabko jail mein band kar dunga." In the case of the BJP, on behalf of the BJP, people say, "Sabko jail mein band kar denge." So you're repudiating it.
On behalf of BJP, no one can say that. BJP is a structured political party. It has a structure and can respond.
On behalf of
Priyanka, just a second. This needs to be very clear. Vikram, let me make this very Priyanka, just a second. Priyanka, just a second. A structured political party cannot have anyone else speaking on its behalf.
You're saying they're clever.
Far more clever. They put people, journalists, in their place by using instruments of democracy so that it is not identifiable or detected by the general public. They are far smarter than the Congress.
But do you agree with that?
You are speaking as if we are aliens from Mars, but it is nothing like that. You have to be objective on this. Where is the cleverness?
We are missing one point.
Are all the parties, and look, these are just 3 of the parties, there are lots of parties.
All parties have, of late, all parties have criticized media. You have, perhaps you have not recalled, Narendra Modi had himself said, कि नहीं मीडिया वालों को तो दिल्ली ही दिखाई देता है, बाकी तो कुछ बाहर दिखाई नहीं देता. Aap is already saying that they will put us in jail once they are in power, and that was categorical assessment. That was not categorical assertion that सभी मीडिया वालों को जेल में बंद कर देंगे. There was no right